Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about decimal place value. Before we get started on these notes, if you could make sure that you split screen this video with the Word document so that you can write and draw as I am writing. If you cannot do that, then you could insert a text box or type within the Word document. Or you're welcome to print it out and write on it during the video lesson. But it's important that you can see both things. You can see your notes and the notes that I'm going over. There might be a couple things in my video that may not be directly on paper, but that's okay. I'm just going to be showing you some examples in the video to help you do the ones that are on paper. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with talking about some definitions. So we're going to talk about the difference between place value, digit, and value, because those words are very important. When we're talking about place value, we're talking about the location of a number. That says number. Okay, let's take a look at the example at the bottom to talk about what we mean by place value. So I've highlighted the 9. So what is the place value of the 9? We're talking about the location of the 9. That would be in the tens place. The tens place. So that's place value. So tens, hundreds, ones, maybe tenths, thousandths, hundredths. Those are all place value. All right, let's talk about what digit is. So if we're talking about the digit, that's the actual number itself. So if we look at the example below, again, we've highlighted that 9. The digit is 9. That's a 9. That's the number. And then lastly, let's talk about value. So value is going to be how much that digit is worth. So how much the digit Okay, so what do we mean by how much the digit is worth? So again, if we're looking at this 9 down here, that 9 is worth 90 because it's in the tens place. So the value here is 90. All right, let's take a look at this example. I want you guys to, this should be on your notes, I want you to pause this video. I want you to try to determine the place value, the digit, and the value. And then once you have decided what those three things are, watch the video to get your answer. All right, so in this example, we are still looking at the 9 that they've underlined. Okay, so they want to know what the place value is. Remember again that place value is going to be the location of the number. So where is that number located? That is in the hundreds place. I'm going to write it below so I have space. Hundreds place. Okay, next it wants you to tell them the digit. So the digit, that is again another 9. And place value, remember the place value is how much that digit is worth. Well, since it's in the hundreds place, that is the value of that number is 900. All right. Okay, I am actually jumping down to the bottom of your notes, so make sure you're looking at the bottom. It should look identical to this. I want us to have a little refresher on place value. So what each of these numbers, what place value they're in. So let's start with the 8. This would be the tens place. The tens place. Next, with the 1, that 1 is in the ones place. Now when you're talking about decimals, remember we don't want to say like 81 point and then the answer. We always, when we're using decimal, we say the word and, right? We're going to use the word and when we're talking about decimals. The 5 right there, remember when you're talking about one number that is right to the right of the decimal place, that isn't the ones place. We don't have that. That's the tenths. Tenths place. Next one over, we go tenths and then it's hundredths. Okay, we're going to keep going up. Tenths, hundredths, next would be thousandths. And then one more up would be 10 thousandths. Oops, let me make that better. Okay, that's a little bit better. 10 thousandths. Okay, so this will be, you should have filled that in at the bottom. You can use that as a reference for the other problems, or try to hide it so that you can practice and just check your work as you go. So now we're going to actually practice getting numbers and identifying the place value. Remember, this chart that we just filled out is all place value. So you can refer back to it. All right, now let's go ahead and practice. So number 1 says, in the number 78 and 9/10, what digit number is in the tenths place? So if you look down at our chart, remember the number that is exactly to the right of the decimal is in the tenths place with that TH at the end. That's super important right there. So what number is directly to the right of the decimal? Well, let's take a look here. There's the decimal. Directly to the right, that digit is a 9. So our answer here would be 9. Let's do a couple more together, and then I want you to practice on your own. All right, the next one says, what number in 78 and 9/10, in the number 78 and 9/10, what digit is in the ones place? Well, if you look down at the chart, the ones place is to the left of the decimal. So if I'm looking at the number to the left of the decimal, the digit to the left of the decimal, that is an 8. So our answer there is 8. All right, let's take a look at, I'm going to jump down to number 5. Let's do 5 together, and then you can fill in the rest and we'll check it. Okay, number 5 reads, in the number 6,174 and 903 thousandths, what digit is in the thousandths? That TH, thousandths place. So be careful here. They're not saying the thousands place, they're saying thousandths. So if again you look down at the chart, the thousandths place is 3 over to the right from the decimal. So that number happens to also be 3. It's 3 spaces over from the decimal, and it's also the number or the digit 3. What I want you to do now is pause the video. I want you to complete number 3, 4, and 6 on your own, and then come back to the video to check your answer. All right, for number 3, in the number 78 and 9/10, what digit is in the tens place? The tens place would be where that 7 is, so the answer is 7. For number 4, in the number 6,174 and 903 thousandths, what number is in the thousands place? Remember, this doesn't have that TH. So that would actually be your 6 at the very beginning of your number, which is different than the thousandths place, which is actually the very end of our number. And the last one, in that same number, what digit is in the hundredths, TH place? That's going to be 2 to the right of your decimal, which is that 0 right there. So the digit you should have gotten is 0. All right, so for this we are going to be writing the numbers from their word form into like numbers. So we're going to do a couple together, and then I want you to do some on your own. Let's do number 7. So let's write the number 58. That one's easy. 58 will be written here. There's no decimals. That one was pretty simple. Let's jump to number 10. It says 11 and 3/100ths. So we've got 11. It's easy. Remember that word and means put your decimal. And then 3/100ths. So So it's only going to be, we need to number it in the hundredths place, and it should be 3 hundredths because it's just 3. All right, let's do one more together. Let's do number 11. 6,040 and 9/10. So we have a 6,040. Let's start with that. So if we're writing the number 6,040, that would be 6,040. We've got that and again, so we're going to put our decimal. And then 9/10. So we're just going to put a 9 in the tenths place. Now I want you to try 9 and 8 on your own. Pause the video and then come back to check your work. All right, let's take a look at number 8. So it's 125 thousandths. This one was super tricky because there's no and to help us there. So for this one, this thousandths tells us that we're working behind the decimal place only. If there was an and, then we would have some before and some after. But 125 thousandths should just be decimal 125. You don't have to add the 0 in the front, but that is good for a place value holder. All right, for number 9, 100 and, so we've got that decimal, so we've got 100 and 25 thousandths. So again, similar to what we were talking about before, 25 thousandths tells us behind the decimal place, and it's only 25. So 25 thousandths, and then that 100 goes before the decimal place. The and is the decimal place. Okay, just as a refresher, make sure you go back to this to refer to it. Anything that ends with that TH, right, is going to be after your decimal place, and it just keeps going up. And then anything before the decimal place, we start with our ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. Now remember, there is no such thing as a ones place. That's not a thing, okay? It starts with the tenths place. All right, what we want you to do now is open up the second document, your place value practice. Do that on your own, and then check the key that is in your agenda that we posted on the same day. Good luck.